Welcome everyone to another edition of Drunk Agile. It's one of these weird episodes where, a week has passed, but nothing has really changed.
Yeah,
Misha's in the
like
same position. Prateek
she decided
coincidentally,
it's choreographed.
yeah, Prateek coincidentally is wearing the same Pink Floyd shirt, which we need to talk about. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to see what Prateek and I are drinking, then just very quickly go check the last video. Let's jump right into it because I don't think this is going to be that long, but long of a video. But I want to we want to debunk probably either the biggest myth or the biggest misunderstanding about work in progress limits. Prateek, what is that huge misunderstanding?
Yeah, and it probably comes from the name itself. People think of work in progress limits as an upper bound, an upper limit, that this is the maximum number of things that can be in our system. And while that's mostly true, it's not just a max. It is also potentially a min. This is the way we want people to think about work in progress is both a max and a min. This is the number at which we believe our team works in its most optimal fashion, where flow is best optimized. It's being too far above it is bad. Being too far below it is probably just as bad.
That's the point that I want to stress. So many people out there assume if you are below your work in progress limit, that it's a good thing. Hey, that's great. Look, our work in progress is 6. We've only got 3 things in there. Look, happy days. Look how wonderful we are at controlling work in progress. Why is that? Why is that a problem? I mean, there's so much literature about why being over your work in progress limit is bad. Why is being under your work in progress limit equally, I might even argue, worse, equally bad or worse?
Yeah, I mean, to me, immediately to my second whiskey mind, at least two things come in. The first is you're potentially starving your system. You're potentially saying we're going to actually work under capacity. We decided that our capacity for our team was 6, but we're just going to work under capacity. That's what we've decided. That's one thing. That's one problem. The other problem is you're not getting a signal anymore. The whole idea of that number is to get a signal. And if you're that far under that number, really what you should have done is pulled more stuff in to start work. But you're not getting that signal anymore. That number doesn't matter if you're too far below it.
But Pradeep, what if the reason we're not pulling stuff in is because we don't feel like we have the capacity to start that new stuff? That's why we're specifically not pulling stuff in. What are we supposed to do then?
Change the number.
I know.
So we're laughing because and we should not be. We should not be, because if for some reason for Dan and I, we've talked about this way too much, and it's too obvious to us. But really, that should trigger the conversation. If you're consistently way under your WIP, or even a couple of times way under your WIP, it should trigger the conversation of, is that the right number? Have we fooled ourselves into thinking our capacity is 6 when it should actually be 4? Let's have that conversation. Let's actually have the hard conversation of, do we need to lower this WIP even further?
Yeah, I mean, if you are in that enviable position where you are under your work in progress limits, I mean, potentially that's a good thing. I mean, I don't want to just start yelling at you right away as much as I'd like to. But yeah, I mean, if every time you walk up to your board and that work in progress limit has, and that column has a work in progress limit of 6, and there's only 3 things in there, those of you who play Twig probably see this happen in Twig all the time. Pretty good evidence. There's pretty good evidence that, you know what, we really don't have the capacity that we think we do in that column. Lower it. So we're getting that signal of trouble so much sooner. So for me, those are the 2 big things. I mean, if you are working under that number, you are, as Prateek said, you are intentionally, very, very intentionally starving your system. Again, you think that might be a good thing, but it's not. The point of those work in progress limits is to, I'm just going to repeat everything you said, because that's what happens when you drink. You just repeat everything, right? The point of those yeah, the point of those work in progress limits is to get your team to work optimally. And if you are under those work in progress limits, your team by definition is not working optimally, unless, which gets us to point two, unless you've decided, you know what, our optimal capacity is lower. And if that's the case, great. That's great that you found that out. Lower the limit. Anything? I've got one thing to add to wrap it up, but is there anything you?
No, to me, yeah, to me, I think those were the main points. Yeah.
Yep. So if you've been listening closely, Prateek has said a C word several times. This is a family show, so I'm not gonna offer up some candidate C words. But go back and listen to this video again for that C word, because in the next video, we're going to talk about the importance of that C word. And again, where I think some people maybe don't quite think about work in progress limits and that C word properly. So until then, Nisha's taken her, her more kind of relaxed, fed up position. Thanks for your answers, Prateek. And thanks to all of you for joining. And we will see you in the next video. Good night, everybody.